Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. We have returning guest, and I must say our most requested non-political guest that we've ever had on the show. My good friend, Karen Rontowski, who has a show called Paranormal Karen that you should all listen to. I've been on it. I think I was on one of the first episodes. No, I was on.
You were on Karen and Kara Can Read.
That's right. Yes, you and my other funny friend, Kira Sultanovich, you guys did some awesome, it was really cool reading. But Karen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I had just so you know, tarot business, I had my waterproof deck, which is very slippery. So I needed to get my other deck. So I'm ready.
What? Are you doing a lot of underwater readings?
No, I don't know why I bought that. I have no write-offs this year because I sit home and read tarot. So I was like, well, that deck is $30, but they don't tell you it's slippery as anything. You can drop the cards every time you shuffle. So these are my first world problems.
Well, you were on the show. I've known you for years. You're a very funny comic. You were just on a week or two ago on Jimmy Dore's show, which was good. And so some people might know you from that. You've done some stand-up with Jimmy and everybody. But Karen, talk a little bit. Tell us about where people can watch you and do some plugs.
Okay, so KarenRontowski.com is where you can find me. I have a dry bar special out there somewhere where I get residual checks. So just let that run over and over wherever you see it. And hopefully this summer, I'll be working 3 months. If you're from Massachusetts and you ever go to Provincetown, 3 months I'll be working out at Cape Cod and Provincetown, my own show, at a place called Tin Pan Alley. And if you're really a slow go-getter, I'll be at Zany's Rosemont for Halloween. I'm pushing Halloween now.
Well, that's probably your big season, I would imagine, as a ghost hunter. And then also it's probably when the whole country might hopefully be sort of more opened up.
Oh, yes. And a last thing, if anyone wants, my demonologist friend is doing a Facebook Live with me April 5th. I don't know. You might have trouble getting your demonologist on the show. Mine is coming right on.
I cannot get a hold of my demonologist, Karen. He or she, I don't know. They very anonymously. They're very slippery demonologists. So like that waterproof card set that you've got. So, all right, Kate, is that good on the volume? I think that's good on the volume. I feel like it's good, Kate. Kate's going to text me in a second here. There we go. Oh, this is going to be a long text. These dots are just really moving a lot. That's always nerve-wracking.
Which is funny too, because it's so funny. I'm trying to write a joke that when you're a psychic, like if you don't get everything right, like I was just on somebody's show and they wanted me to read for the crowd. So the lady comes up and I go, so are you a teacher? And she goes, I am a teacher. And then the next guy, I go, you're in a year 6, you're going to be moving, relationships are going to break up with this. He goes, I just moved 3 times. So they go to the skeptic on the show and they go, what did you think of her? And he goes, I think she was too general. Probably everyone's a teacher. Right. So I was like, it's like, you can't, you know what I mean? You can't do that. But all I think of last time I was on was the thing I got wrong. So whenever you want, I would love to address it.
All right, we'll get in that. All right, so it sounds like, it's just better when you're closer to the mic. So just try to be close to your mic, okay. Karen, and
How's this?
That's perfect. There we go.
Now it's too much head. There we go. And I'll be louder. Okay.
You're good. All right. So one of the things, I mean, we had you on the show. I'm trying to remember when it was. It was after the election, November, December-ish. I think
it was November. It was either November or December. Yes, it was definitely before January.
Yeah, it was.
I was warning everybody about January. Get food, stay home.
Oh my God. And the thing that was so crazy is when this stuff would happen, people would on my show be like, hey, Paranormal Karen predicted this. She called this. So you predicted the craziness. You said we're going to see stuff we've never seen before, like crazy stuff. And at the time, I was like, God, I wonder what that's going to be. Well, it turns out it was Nazis in wolf hats through the Capitol. Turns out that was the thing that, just, that was, yeah, that's one of the crazier things we've seen in America for sure. And you said that the presidency is going to be up in the air. You said all these things that were really true. And, there's still a group of the QAnon people that think March 4th is going to be Trump's new day or whatever. So, what the fuck? No, I just like, so you predicted so much stuff when you were on the show, which is why everyone was like, oh my God, you got to get her back on the show. Like what's going to happen next? So as you did that reading for my show, and I know you did them for some other shows, and you started to see this stuff unfold before we get into the reading of what's going to happen, right, with Biden and stuff. Now, like how did, because this wasn't just like, oh, hey, you're going to get a new job and move to somebody, or you're going to, your marriage is going to end. You're going to meet somebody or something like that. Wow. This was like big predictions.
Well, there's a couple of things. Am I loud enough? I hope I'm good.
Yeah, you're good.
So when we're looking at things that usually have to do with time, it's always good to double check with astrology. In fact, and I had said on that show, Donald Trump had something in his chart about a reversal. I actually thought he was going to get reinstated. I was a little surprised that didn't happen because I thought he had that court lined up correctly. He had, all he needed was a couple of them to fall before something could go kaflooey. But so that was the one I was wrong on. And here was my thinking. I really actually, even that stuff with the Capitol, I thought it was going to be bigger. I was amazed that they backed off when they did. And here's what I think happened. February has been very dark. I feel like it's been a dark month, and it's probably personally, or everybody feels like 2020, we were just waiting to get to 2021 and now we're all in purgatory. And it's like, there seems like this shadow. I think if that had been bigger in January and all that anger had popped, we would be in a better place. Cause I feel like right now it kind of got smeared around. And so there's this unknowing that the 20th, the day of the inauguration, was another day in astrology that was really tagged as something's going to happen. They made it out, but it really, that was the thing I got wrong, was that I wondered if he was going to be reinstated. And I kind of feel like in a weird way, maybe that was, I don't like to make excuses when I'm wrong. I'm okay to go, I'm wrong. But I don't know. His chart now for March is taking a turn for the better. Okay. And also, I had 9 psychics on my podcast, and everybody said March and April. Look out, April. All right. End of March, April. And just watching the news, I couldn't help notice, are we bombing Syria? Did we go to war? I can't remember if I had the news on that minute.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's part of the fact that America's always bombing someone, so it's hard to keep track of it. But yes, we started bombing Syria last Thursday on the 25th.
Okay. So I really feel like this is now I'm going to get way out. You got me way on my woo woo, but I have to tell you this really weird thing. So there's this lady that hooks up these things to my head. Okay. She's my therapist, and she puts this thing on my head. And then she plays music and my brain goes, woo. And, sometimes I get mediumship. I get visited by people. So mediumship is speaking with the dead. And I got visited by Osama bin Laden. And he said, my troops are gathering. No one heard what we had to say. And then this is very odd, though. I said, I didn't really believe it. And I said, tell me something that the public doesn't know. And he said, you didn't catch Zarqawi. I have no idea what that means, if he surrendered or what happened, but that was all the information I had. But I feel like April could be whatever is going on It could be terrorist attack. It could be something like that. Like something else is happening right around March, April.
Wow. Well, first, I want to backtrack a little bit.
The things on my head?
Is it? No, Karen, I nothing that you say shocks me. I've known you a long time, and you say demonologist like somebody says plumber, and I love it. That's the thing I love about you. Just say, well, demonologist. It's just like,
well, Osama bin Laden stops by.
I told you I was talking to me. It's just like, yeah, when I was the guy that does my brakes was telling me that the brake pad price might go up. Like, that's how you say these things, and that's why I absolutely love you. And you're too accurate for me to be like, well, I don't know. So I'm not bringing you on to poke holes in what you say or to make fun of it, because it's just like, go for it, man.
Okay.
But I want to back up a little bit, because when you said, I thought January 6th was going to be bigger, and that's where I was wrong. I don't think you were wrong, because I think when I saw that unfold that day, that morning, and was watching that happen on the news, I was kind of thinking about what you said, but I was more thinking, I really am a student of history. And I was like, I've seen this in other countries historically. And I said, or even just like Waco, Texas, or Ruby Ridge, or things we've had in this country. I just thought this is going to there's going to be a shootout for several days. I mean, I thought it was going to be like that, because honestly, that historically, be it in this country or anywhere else, when armed people take to the Capitol building because they think something was stolen from them, or they don't like the current government, or the election was fixed. I mean, throughout the world, it doesn't end in just like, okay, we took some selfies and we walk out with a podium. I mean, like literally, it was, yes, and some people died, and that was tragic. But I literally was watching this going, this is going to be an all day. This is going to be an all day or a 2 week. It's going to be like day 5 of the standoff. Like, I thought it was going to be like that. And so I don't think you called it wrong. I think something else. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. The fact that the head of the Proud Boys and the head of the Oath Keepers, it's now come out that they were FBI informants. So maybe they like diffused it intentionally, or these Second Amendment neo-Nazi people are all talk, and they're just like, we're going to take the Capitol. And they got in there, were like, we don't know what to do, click, and then went home, like, it was like, they didn't even, I was like, these people don't even know how to do a goddamn revolution right. So I was
we've become so lazy, we don't know how to have a revolution anymore.
Like, Americans are so lazy and apathetic. Like, can we just go to the mall? Like, we're done with the revolutionizing today. So I don't think I don't think you were wrong. Crazy. You saw crazy stuff happening. It happened, and then it got weirdly diffused. And part of the diffusion is that, as I said, they didn't go in there like, we're going to go this, we're going to capture these people, we're going to make these demands. They just said, they stole the election. And then what? They didn't have a plan. And then also, I think part of it was, look, had Black Lives Matter stormed the Capitol, they would have been gunned down. They would have been gunned down. So
before they got to the door. I mean, there would have been Apache helicopters just like, just taking them out. So there's a bit, and we more news came out that, there was off-duty cops, and the cops let them in. I mean, it was just like, that had a lot to do with it. So I don't think that's, you were wrong. I think you predicted a crazy event happen, and it unfolded in a crazy way. You were correct in saying we're going to see things we never thought happen, which is people storm the Capitol and then, without a plan. I don't know if they were waiting for him to come up, but I don't know what the exit was. It was, I don't know.
I don't know either. Cause like, had he, Trump is he's not, everyone's like, he's a fascist dictator. No, he does a lot of fascist stuff. He's such a narcissist. He doesn't even know a true fascist demagogue would have said, and would have gone to the Capitol and told his troops, take the Capitol. I'm the leader. I'm not leaving. That's how historically that has happened. That's how in all these countries where this has happened, Pinochet, I mean, people like that, they show up and they say, I'm here. and then they motivate these armed, and there's an armed insurrection. And so Trump talked tough, him and Giuliani talked tough at the speech, and then they kind of were like, oh shit, like, whoa, wait a minute, I didn't think they were actually going to do it or whatever. Like they had no plan. Trump wasn't even like, I'm not leaving. This is my plan. If he was smarter, he could have done it. I mean, he could have but he didn't.
He just wanted chaos.
Yeah.
He just wanted chaos, and he just wanted to show he was mad, and these people will do it for him. It's interesting because also talking about the Biden administration, I think you're looking at a President Harris. I don't think Biden's Well,
let's get into that. So let's get into a reading now. I said that about Joe Biden. He showed cognitive decline over a year ago when he was running in the primary. And I'm like, there's no way he's going to finish term one. I think Kamala was handpicked for that reason. But let's get into a reading of how this presidency is going to go. I mean, we're on the verge of them approving this new stimulus, which is a big,
that'll keep everyone quiet.
That'll keep everybody quiet for now. I want to know what is going to happen, with his presidency, with the economy, because there's all this, it's going to collapse, but we got to pump money into it. There's all these questions floating around. I mean, what just happened in Texas, is that going to when the summer starts again, are there going to be more protests
Well, this is a little, and pardon if I do my cards this way, everyone. This is a little more general stuff, but this year, starting last year to this year, the problem is always water. If you don't have enough water for a fire, if you got too much water, it's snow. If you know what I mean, that's everything. And I am more worried about Texas in the summer being unbelievably hot. They are going to go from cold to hot like you've never, Texas is just get out of Texas, because I just feel like it's going to be a disaster. It's slowly turning into a disaster area. So whether it's heat or flooding or whatever, but I feel I pulled out two things. I pulled out in New Year's. I was very worried about Texas. I didn't get the snow, but I was worried about Texas, and some things up in Michigan. I want Michigan this year. This is a weird thing. This is my gut instinct. It's not exactly about this, but I do absolutely believe MBS will become probably one of the most dangerous men in the world. The Saudi prince. I don't, every time I see him, I'm like, if you watch that vampire show, he's real life Nandor. He's just going to be, we have to watch him all the time. He and Jared Kushner were like this. Now they're going to, he's a very dangerous character in a very dangerous area.
I mean, that makes sense. The new whatever revelations came out that he was the one that ordered Khashoggi to be murdered. So it's not surprising to me that you're pulling that card on him, and we always cut him slack because, hey, he gives us oil and they buy our weapons. And so Biden has said, we're going to trim back the weapon sales. Right. Yeah, that'll happen for sure. Yeah. And Vegas is going to close at midnight. That's going to happen on the same day.
Because it's slow.
It's slow. Business is slow. They're going to close Vegas at midnight. We're not going to sell as many weapons. But so what else are you seeing in terms of, I mean, that's good to know that because Biden's a Republican. I mean, people voted for him because he wasn't as awful as Trump. And of course, he's bombing. We haven't gotten our stimulus checks. He's built detention. He's got cages for kids. We're calling them facilities. So we're all supposed to think that it's nice. But he has, I hear little things, and I'm not optimistic in this because I think it's Biden and the Democrats giving it lip service. But I do hear a lot of people have been like, we're against this war in Yemen, and then been very vocal about it. So he's starting to say, he's trying to give the progressives in the Democratic Party lip service. but he's aware of it because they're aware that, look, they can say whatever they want in the press, but they know the statistics are they lost a bunch of seats. Centrist Democrats lost seats. 24 of 28 candidates in this last election in races all over the country that were endorsed by the Democratic Socialists of America won. So they're seeing like these young kids are like, I'm a socialist. They saw what happened in Portland. Portland was like a bunch of white kids. Portland's a white city. A bunch of white kids like fighting the police, getting radicalized. And so they're trying to give these progressive things lip service, and Yemen and us selling weapons to the Saudis and allowing them to create this crisis, and the blowback that's even just been happening from Syria. All of a sudden, all these people on social media are like, wait a minute. Even people that haven't been paying attention are starting to realize, wait a minute. They can't seem to figure out where this $1,400 is, but we got money to bomb. We got money to do this and that. So how are you seeing, since you're seeing MBS is you're worried about him. Biden is trying to talk tough about him, which I think is just lip service, but we'll see. How is this?
I'm seeing him as an ongoing problem. So I don't know how much impact he's going to have this year, but if they don't start to shut him down, it could be a year or two down the line where he is just, I don't even know if it's weapons or cutting off oil or whatever he's going to do. But I see him as like, I see him worse than China. There's something about him. And it was from the first time I saw him. And it's weird because I couldn't even figure out how tall he was. I had to actually look at a picture of him next to Donald Trump because I had such a icky feeling about him. Like, I don't know, I'm sure. We knew about him saying it was okay to kill that reporter, but he was there in the room while they're doing it, while they're going at him with a bone saw. I know that to be a human being, I don't know, Donald Trump couldn't even listen to the tape and he's pretty bad. So that's, I just worry about him very, very much. I don't have an exact, I just wanted to say, I think that's the guy to watch. Also with what's going on in Armenia, I think we are at war. I actually think we've started probably doing more stuff with China, and I think we just haven't announced war. I think we're just not hearing it. I think we're going head to head with China. It's almost already started. When you talk to people in the military, they might tell you something's going on there. I think Syria. I think whatever he's trying to do over there in the Middle East. It's funny when we say Biden, because I always think it's not Biden. Whoever's making this decision isn't Biden. But that is making me very nervous. But again, I feel like March. I know I'm jumping all over, but I'm giving you the ones I have, and then I'll do cards. March is going to be about information. Strange information coming out, even including the alien files are going to be released. So I think that's all in March. And you know who that was that put that in there? It was Marco Rubio. Put that in a bill that they have to release all that information about the aliens. Isn't that weird?
This is weird.
Marco Rubio, you got to put that in the bill that all the information about aliens are coming out. I'm from Florida, and we got to know about that. It's like...
I mean, yeah, what's the term? War makes strange bedfellows or whatever like that. That's so odd that you'd be like, wow, Rubio, I guess I support that. I don't know.
Well, I don't think we're going to get the real files, right. But March is going to be about weird information coming out. And this is where I like your show and I watch you and Jimmy because you guys, like, I can't watch the news. Makes me sick to my stomach now. The news channels I can't. And I can't watch the people that fell asleep. They have fallen asleep because Joe Biden's in charge. And it's, I'll give you a real alien thing. I have a friend that channels aliens. And
of course we all do.
Yes. Oh, if you're at my house and you don't, I don't know what you're going to talk about. They're so disgusted with mankind. They're just like, they think of nothing but themselves. So it is interesting. I don't know if your guest's like a little UFO, a little demonology, a little.
I'm all for it. I'm a little UFO is great. I don't really talk much about UFOs, but my theory is probably what you said, which is I definitely believe in there's higher life. There's no way the human race is this. This is the ghetto trailer park of the universe, this planet.
Yes.
And I think higher life has come here and gone, oh God, don't stop there. It is a horrible neighborhood. Like they kill each other for food and they just don't care, and water and money, oil, and they're selfish. I mean, they're like, don't go there. Like,
yeah.
So what else specific? Let's talk about that specifically though. So what other, your friend that talks to or is connected to alien life or intelligence, what other specific things have they said?
Well, first of all, and if anybody wants to see a really good, well, it's very funny. There's something on Netflix where Stephen Greer is talking about how they've never attacked. Nothing's been bad. But literally, we have shot down UFOs. We have shot down UFOs and picked them up. They have had UFOs come in and shut down nuclear facilities, just like turned all the power off. That's something that people don't know. And that's sort of an act of power where they're like, I really think there's a certain set of aliens that's trying to save the planet. And they have come in and just showed, no, you're not going to do that. You're not going to have a nuclear war. I would be very amazed if we ever did have a nuclear war, but I think you would see something would come in and stop it. That's not going to happen. They're not going to let us ruin the planet. But there has been a lot more UFO activity than people realize. And like I said, it's been shooting things down. It's been crashes, UFO crashes. They just get to them so fast and they pick them up and they take them away. I think that information is going to start to come out this March and April, but we won't get all of it. We'll get some of it. That we're never going to get all of it.
Right. No, it's like, I mean, I've been watching more. I haven't seen, there's more videos now of people like seeing that's not a jet plane. It's not a helicopter. That is some other form of technology floating, moving in ways that none of our aircraft do. I saw some video of people like on a beach in Hawaii, like a year or two ago, and just this huge, like football stadium floating across. And then it's clearly being followed by like an Air Force jet. But they're just like, what is that? They're like, and then the Air Force issued some statement like, oh, we were just, working on weather balloons. Oh God, are we that dumb? Like really? We were just moving file cabinets with Christmas lights across the ocean. Like, okay, thank you. That makes sense.
That too. And I don't know if anyone has seen the stories on the Phoenix Lights. Phoenix Lights, where it was like so obvious and they were right there. They've been here a while, and I think there's going to start to release that to the public. I do understand that for a little while that information could have freaked people out, but I think people are now ready to hear it, and it's going to just be, given to us, and then they'll put something over it. They'll, the aliens are here, but you can get your vaccine at the gas station now. You know what I mean? That's how it goes. You get the news and then you get vaccine news, which, by the way, is going to be changed in, I believe, June or July.
What's going to be changed?
They're just going to change the vaccine. I'm not sure what that's about. I know they've been trying to come up with new ones but there's something about it they're going to change.
What are you reading or feeling about these vaccines? I know there's different style. The Johnson & Johnson one just came out. It's different than the like Pfizer and Moderna one. What are you seeing about the vaccine and COVID?
I think, well, first of all, the summer should be way better for COVID. We should be out and about. I really think we're going to be sort of out of COVID, probably the end of 2021, 2022, but that doesn't mean it's like this. It doesn't mean it's lockdown. It just means it's going away. It's going away. It's funny. I'm waiting as long as I can with the vaccine. I don't want it. I'm not anti-vax. So I'm going to say that very clearly. But here is what makes me very nervous about it is, first of all, Robert Kennedy is being wiped off the planet. He's been wiped off, million viewers on Instagram. And I do believe in the science of vaccines. but he won that lawsuit where somebody really covered. He knows the science on this. And if anybody wants to really see him do a great in-depth interview about it, again, he's not anti-vax. I'm not anti-vax. They were putting a preservative in vaccines that had mercury in it. And that's when autism went from almost nothing to it just spiked. So he won that lawsuit to get that taken out. And as soon as he won it, they passed a bill that said you cannot sue the prescription companies for vaccines anymore. So that covers flu shots, that covers anything. You can't sue them anymore because he won that case. Now, the good thing is they can't put that in U.S. vaccines anymore. But our hero, Bill Gates, is in the vaccine that he is giving to the world, to the African countries, and kids are dying. So for whatever reason, this is my total thing. I don't trust any of these companies. I just can't. I don't know what it is. And I actually hope that, this coming up so fast, they just did it right. But I want to wait. I want to see, I keep saying I'll get it when Robert Kennedy gets it, but he keeps getting wiped off media. So I get his email and I'm watching his email, but he's not anti-vax. He's not anti-science. It's just, what are they doing? I mean, this came out fast. It came out fast.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to hear. All right. Interesting. It's I've had a doctor on this show talk about the difference between the mRNA one and the vector one, which is the Johnson & Johnson.
Which one did he like better?
It was a woman. Don't be so sexist. Jesus, Karen. Wow. Women can be doctors. Did you know that, Karen? It's just, well, she said several things, and I talked to two friends of mine that, one has a wife who works in a pharmaceutical company and one works for a pharmaceutical company. And I didn't know this. And I was very skeptical too. This is, since COVID is related to SARS, they've been working on this for 10 years. So it isn't just like brand new. That was my thing. Like, this is too fast. And the mRNA ones, this woman scientist created this vaccine several years ago, but the pharmaceutical companies didn't like it because it was too cheap and they didn't make enough of a profit. The older school vaccines made more of a profit. That's why I'm like, well, actually kind of now I trust this one more, since they didn't want it because it wasn't as profitable. So when COVID hit, they were like, okay, put more money into finishing this vaccine because we need it. We need it on a mass scale. She said it doesn't change your DNA. The doctor that I had on the show, she's a big Medicare for All proponent. She worked on Bernie Sanders' campaign. Her name is Dr. Victoria Dooley. Anybody who's watching my show for the first time, I had her on the show maybe 2-3 weeks ago. So please check that out and make your own decisions. And she said, talk to your own doctor and come to your own. She goes, if you don't want to take the vaccine, don't. But it put me at ease a little more. I was sort of in a similar, like, I'm going to wait. But she's like, there's no serious side effects. Some people have had them, but people can have reactions to Tylenol, to anything.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, okay, that's true. When I was married, I gave my wife that Zicam stuff that I use anytime I would start to feel sick. And she literally went into anaphylactic shock, like her throat seized up. We had to give her Benadryl. It was like scary, off of over-the-counter zinc. So, and I'm the same thing too. Like, I was vaccinated as a kid. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I don't trust these big pharmaceutical companies either. I'm really leery about them. And the fact that they did do that after RFK Jr., won that.
He's so onto this, and he gets pushed into the anti-vax group, and he's totally not. Right. He did a really great thing for everyone. And I don't get the flu shot. I'll never get the flu shot, even if I get the vaccine. But the other thing is, like, in Costa Rica, they're testing things like light therapy. There's actually a light therapy that can kill the virus. And we're not even looking at it here in this country. Right, there's something about, and it could be just the money, but, for whatever reason, whenever Bill Gates is involved, I have a problem. Or,
as well you should.
Right. So I'm a little on my own, I feel like it is also a timeline thing. If you feel safe with the vaccine, you should get it. If you don't, then don't. It's the thing that makes me nervous is when they talk about vaccination passports or that kind of thing. That makes me think that's getting way too close. If the airline's going to say you can't fight.
Well, yeah, I mean, it feels authoritarian on the one hand, but then myself, I've traveled, and I remember traveling in some third world countries, and you had to have a yellow fever pass. They had like a vaccine passport card almost, where they would show you had all of these things, malaria pills, you had to get tetanus. Like I remember I had to get this whole card filled out. So that's not new. That's not a new thing that they're requiring you to get that to go into certain countries, or if you were in certain countries and you come back here, you have to prove that you got the yellow fever shot, or
I think it's going to be in this country, though. That's the only thing that makes me nervous. I think it's going to be here, and I should be able to get to New York without it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, well, I get on a domestic flight.
Because even now, I couldn't go see a friend of mine in Costa Rica. You still can't fly to Costa Rica unless you have dual citizenship. So right now we are kind of in that zone, but I think it's going to get, we're doing better. We could beat this year. Yeah. I believe we could beat this year. That's what I think.
Okay, that's great.
I don't think it's going to be an issue in 2022.
Okay, that's good to hear. Let's talk about now the economy. How do you see this playing out? And does March, the chaos that you and others are seeing coming in March and April, is part of that going to be economic, I guess?
I don't feel like, first of all, the housing market doesn't worry me, and I don't know why, but I am not that worried about it. I kind of like, here's the thing. If the stock market starts to go kaflooey, I would say, hold on. It's going to be the end of the year when it comes back. Okay. So if that starts to do this, hang on. You and I both agree on Bitcoin or getting out of, regular stuff. But I do think we're going to have some dips this year. But there's this, we have talked about this, about the reserve and the dollar falling out. That to me seems like, an event. It's not like, oh, everything just kind of went bad and now we're in a dipped economy. For some reason, I'm not that worried about that yet. To me, it feels like that's going to be a big deal or a big reveal. Do you know what I mean? What I'm saying there?
Yeah, kind of. So, I mean, if I understand correctly, you're saying that so more people are just going to be aware of sort of how the Federal Reserve just prints money and how
and it's either going to drop quickly, like it'd be like what the hell, and everybody starts moving their stock and it drops quickly. I'm not seeing that soon. I think I keep wanting to say the veil is up. People are just going to keep going. You keep printing, we're going to be fine. All right. So that I see is a little farther off, but I do think April and May is going to show, like I said, unexplained events, could be a terrorist attack. April and May, you got to watch it. It's going to go down, 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 down. Summer's going to be better.
So, okay. So then you're not seeing necessarily a big crash, like overnight, like what happened in 2008. The housing market just bottomed out. The stock market just bottoms out. You're not seeing that. You're seeing
not this year.
Okay.
Not this year.
But there could be some events that make things go down.
And I think that's later. I think we're looking 2022 or something like that, where it's almost like, to do a terrible metaphor, there's no gold in Fort Knox, and everything goes down. I do think, like I said, I'm very worried about April. April could be a market changer, okay? And it really could be temporary, but for some reason, this economy is going to sustain. And I don't know what that is, if they're just printing more money, but I'm not that worried this year, especially the housing market. People are still buying.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been watching stuff that there's just a low inventory because people aren't selling that much. So it's driving the prices that are on the market up. The concern that I have and that I've heard others talk about is just all these people that have been getting forbearances since COVID for the last year. Their bank has said, all right, you don't have to make your mortgage payments, and we'll restructure your loan, but the interest is still stacking up and the escrow payments. And so when they finally end that, and I've heard some people say this new stimulus just kicks the can down the road. Again, I'm just quoting what financial experts say because I'm not a financial expert, but they're like, when that happens, then all these people are going to get these big balloon payments, and they're going to then, all right, there's going to be all these short sales and foreclosures, or people just like, I got to sell, I can't afford this house anymore. And then they're going to flood the market. And if people are still kind of trying to dig themselves out of COVID or some of these industries that have been wiped out, the travel industry, you and I both know a lot of comedy clubs that have just closed their doors permanently, which is heartbreaking, and restaurants and stuff like that. So they're saying, well, now that all that is going to kind of, there's going to be this sort of perfect storm that's going to create this. Because I don't want there to be a big collapse, but I'm just hearing that from a lot of sort of financial experts. So I'm just curious if you're
2022.
Okay. All right.
That was easy. 2022. I'm not that worried about it this year. Don't know why. Just not.
Okay.
I do feel like we were, I don't know why, but we chose a different timeline. January was supposed to be all these things at once. Crash, boom, bang, everything was supposed to change. And I know that as human beings, we can choose a different timeline, and we did. But housing, not that worried about. More like, after 9/11, where everything went down, or, everything kind of went. I am more worried about an event or news that it's not only going to be the lockdown, they're going to want people to stay in the house. So, remember how 9/11, nobody wanted to fly?
Yeah.
It feels something like that. They're going to want to scare people into staying into the house. I think, and we kind of covered this, I think we're already at war with Syria. I think it's already going on. I think we're already at odds with China. I think, I'm not worried about Russia right now or North Korea, but I feel like we're already there, and it's just, what are we seeing? So when that happens, like I said, very much more worried about April than May. It's either going to be the end of March and April. That's what you've got to watch for. I'll come on in May and eat my shoe if I'm wrong.
All right. So somewhere in April, there's going to be some type of event that's going to be kind of chaotic. Does any of this chaos that you're seeing in April, does it even tie into the alien life forms?
I don't think so. I think that you actually have that right. There's a certain amount where they're just like, fuck it, leave them.
Yeah, why mess with these guys? They just want to blow each other up.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at GrahamElwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.